What's up? And we are back. Yes, we took a little time off. So sorry for that, folks. You know, life gets in the way. Also, being sick and hungover does sometimes too. But we are back, and this time I am not by myself anymore. Thank God, because Lord knows what I do when I'm left to my own devices. We have Monsieur Brian back on the line. How goes it, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad, not bad. How you been?
Busy, sick, and then son was sick, and then homework, and that's kind of how it goes.
Hey man, life gets in the way. Plus, we ain't paid to do this shit just yet. Hey, sponsors, we're still waiting. But let's go ahead and check out some of the stories that have been going on the last couple weeks since we've been out. So there's been a few things going on. Now, I told you I listen to Joe Rogan, dude, and he's pretty good. I'm not trying to compare us to him because he's kind of on a different level. But he did a podcast recently with Robert Downy Jr., which, everyone knows him as America's Dr. Doolittle. Fuck that. No, he's known as Iron Man, goddammit.
Iron Man. Yep.
Hell yeah.
Well, also, I mean, with Robert Downy Jr., it's kind of a little off topic, but I saw this thing, it was three pictures. Can't remember off the top of my head who they were. One of them was the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, though. I do remember that. And I actually posted a comment, this is on Facebook, that Robert Downy Jr. belonged on this list because it was lead singer of My Chemical Romance, Brendan Fraser, and Macaulay Culkin. And
who are people who have fizzled out but then somehow come back in the late 22nd century for $400?
No, it was more along the lines of they're people that had during the last 20 years they went through some really bad shit. Like Brendan Fraser, for example, he was sexually assaulted by some bigwig, some Hollywood bigwig. And he actually
spoke... #me too with a penis.
He actually spoke out about it. And
no, yeah, I heard about that, actually.
That's why his career plummeted after that. His Hollywood career plummeted because, from what I understand about it, and, correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand about it, people didn't want to work with him anymore because he spoke out against this Hollywood bigwig. And, but anyway, so it was a list of people that went through shit and recovered from it, or starting to recover from it. I was like, hey, Robert Downy Jr. belongs on this list, and someone responded I don't know why you would say he belongs on this list. Look up what he fucking went through. Robert Downy Jr. was a fucking alcoholic,
drug addict,
and he went through recovery, and look at him now. He's Iron Man. He's one of the most successful actors of all time. So I was like, yeah. Anyway, tangent. I'm sorry, but
no. I mean, that's perfectly understandable. To be perfectly honest, if it wasn't for that Iron Man role, I don't think he would have had the resurgence he did. Although, I can't remember which one he did first. Was it Iron Man or Tropic Thunder?
I think. You know what? I'm not sure. Let's consult the IMDb database. So we'll go to IMDb.
Hooray for internets.
And then let's see. So the first Iron Man came out when?
Shit, I don't know.
Well, you just said internets. Come on, man.
Yeah, but you're always a quicker typer than I am. Plus, I'm hammered, fucker.
So am I. I just went
point.
and chugged a beer and came back and still got some brandy to finish. Okay, so Tropic Thunder came out in 2008. Okay, I'm pretty sure
Iron Man came out in 2008, though, too.
Did it?
Yeah.
You're right.
Huh.
Okay, anyway.
Well, either way.
So, with the shit that Robert Downy Jr. went through, he pulled himself back. He got back in and corrected the shit that went that he did. And there was actually I remember reading something about it where he played a role in one of his earlier movies where he was supposed to portray an alcoholic. And that's kind of when he realized that he had a problem.
Well, isn't there that story where he was hammered, fucked up, and he went and got a burger from Wendy's and then went to the beach at 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
I haven't heard that one.
There's some story, I don't know, I'm a little too drunk to recall, but there's some story where basically he kind of hit rock bottom, saying damn, I'm actually getting this at 3 in the morning and I'm finding it great. I must be fucked up. Thank God for Betty Ford, huh?
Who?
The old school alcohol clinic. Only children in the 90s will remember this one.
I'm a child of the 80s, so.
Good point. Don't say that or we'll lose half of our audience.
I don't know about that, man.
Good point.
Yeah, but anyway,
Betty
so
Ford Clinic. That's,
so the recent
rehab.
news with Robert Downy Jr. was something about how someone decided to bring up from Tropic Thunder, a film that I have actually not seen yet. I haven't really heard much about it. That it was a bad thing that he did blackface.
Well, it's okay. So here's the thing: is that the reason why I bring it up is because he himself brought it up in a roundabout way. So, when you don't really talk about something, people mostly forget about it because there's literally so much shit that happens, as our previous conversation, so much shit that happens from an hour-to-hour, day-to-day basis. But Robert Downy Jr. did bring up his Tropic Thunder role in the Joe Rogan interview and basically was I am literally doing blackface in this movie. But the thing is that he's actually playing a character named, what the hell is the character's name? Kirk Lazarus, there it is, who's a Welsh actor, is an over-actor, which, let's face it, there's a lot of them. I'm looking at you, Shia LaBeouf. Don't fucking at me. But there's a lot of over-actors, and basically he's super method in this movie, and so he's going to play a character who is a black character in this movie that they're making inside the movie. And the whole joke, I mean, if you have to have explained to you folks, is that he's basically making fun of people who are so method they'll do the wrong thing, i.e. playing blackface. But the big issue is that Megyn Kelly, who I guess had some kind of show on, I don't know what the hell she has on some kind of right-wing bullshit, but she basically talked about how, what's wrong with playing blackface? It's not that bad. It's like a Halloween costume. And then she gets canceled because, professionally offended her permanently around.
That's what's wrong with black. Okay, so this kind of relates to this. So okay, when Moana, the Disney Moana, great movie, when it came out, the following Halloween, there was a Maui costume.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
okay,
I remember this.
That had the fake tats and shit, and it was actually removed from shelves because people saw it as similar to blackface.
To be perfectly honest, it's giving tattoos on a skin that's brown colored that you basically put on over your body. So, I mean, as innocent as the portrayal is, it really is it's Hawaiian face, which is not that far from Mexican face. As Gabriel Iglesias so eloquently put it, Hawaiians look like swollen Mexicans.
Right.
Don't at me, fuckers.
I thought that was Samoans.
In the same vein. Well, I will tell you this.
Islanders.
You know what, dude? And I will say this. The worst ass beating I ever had in my life was from a Samoan. I think I might have told you about this, but I'll share the story for the group. So I used to work up north at a ski lodge, and as being up north, there's really not much to do except for get drunk and be stupid. And there was this dude there. I'll go ahead and change his name for legal reasons. Let's go ahead and name him Brogan. So Brogan was this giant 6'8" Samoan Maori big motherfucker. And of course, me being stupid as hell, like usual, it's kind of my default. I'm like, hey, Brogan, let's go play some rugby. The thing is, up in the snow, you don't want to go outside, especially in the middle of a blizzard, because, yeah, that's just dumb. But not quite as dumb as what I did. So the place I lived, there was a long hallway for all the different rooms. It was kind of like a dorm / shitty city hotel kind of setup. And I literally could not spread my arms wide enough. Like, when I spread my arms completely wide, I couldn't do it inside the hallway. It was like maybe like 3 feet across from left to right. And he says, all right, you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Let's play. Come on. So we start running at each other. I got the ball. This Maori literally picks me up by my center of gravity and hucks me through the drywall like a fucking ragdoll. Now,
dude, you never told me this.
I never told you this story.
You never told me this story. I dropped you off.
Stories.
Was this the time I dropped you off?
Yes.
You
yes,
never
this was
told
the same
me
time.
that story. You never told me that story. Okay, and I mean, I'll mention something else that happened that trip, but go ahead.
Yeah. So Brogan literally picks me up and just puts me through the drywall, and both of us are so hammered. It takes us a good 5-10 minutes to realize what the fuck just happened, and everyone like I swear it was like third grade again. We all just scatter like roaches. We all get knocks on our door like, what the fuck happened? Who the fuck put this hole in the wall? Thank God it was through my wall, so I could be like, I don't know what happened. I was asleep. I saw nothing.
Quick, fill the hole with toilet paper.
You're not far off. It was newspaper, but you're not far off there. So because it was my wall, I was like, oh, let me I'll help you out there, manager. Yeah, I don't know who did this, but let me help you out there. Yeah.
No.
Don't drink alcohol, kids. It's bad.
No, don't drink alcohol. Do stupid shit. Okay. No. What I remember from dropping you off from the whole trip, honestly, was later on I took you to taking you to your cousin's house.
Yes.
And I come back. I'd never driven in snow before, and I come back. I'm driving my little Ford Escort. Heater didn't work, so I'm freezing my ass off in this thing. And I get to your cousin's apartment complex, and I pull up to the bottom of the hill. And this is a steep hill. I mean, it wasn't quite 45 degrees, maybe just a touch less than that. But I'm like looking up this hill. I'm like, all right, that's covered in ice. I don't have chains.
Nope, no chains.
Let's try this. So I managed to get up the hill. That wasn't the problem. So I pick you up. We start coming down the hill. I'm like, all right, easy, don't slide. Just try and get down. We got down the hill successfully. No, it wasn't until.
Well, yeah, because let's let everyone know that this hill was a hill, but the hill was on the side of a fucking mountain. So if you went over the edge, we wouldn't be having this podcast.
Right, yeah. It was pretty crazy. This was out in Reno, wasn't it? Yeah. I remember.
Well, it was like Reno Tahoe, that area.
Right, yeah. Reno Tahoe area. So northern Tahoe, rather. So no, that's not what I remember most from this whole thing. It was when we were on the freeway. We're like one of the only cars that's actually on the freeway. Snow is coming down, and we start going through the interchange. One of the interchanges to get back to, I think it was my hotel room.
I think so. Like you were staying like the Golden Butt Nugget or something like that.
I think it was Sheraton. Anyway, doesn't matter. Anyway, so we're going around this interchange, and the tail end of my car just starts drifting. Like, oh crap! And then all I hear from you, because you're drunk off your ass right now, then and now, all I hear from you is, "Are we sliding?" Yeah, we're sliding.
I remember that, man.
I did manage to recover. I turned into the. I was in the inner part. Turned in, gassed it. I was able to get the right front tire over the curb that they actually had on that freeway, and then to stop me. And then I was able to pull out and get down the rest of that interchange ramp whathout any other problems. But this is the whole, are we sliding? Yeah,
we're sliding. Well, what's so funny about that was that it was so slow that we were doing it because you were taking it slow since you hadn't driven in snow like that before. So like,
right,
we were just taking it slow, and maybe like honestly not even going 20. We're like maybe like
it was going like at most 15 miles an hour in that whole thing because I mean the snow was probably at least a good like half a foot deep. It was a good 6 to 8 inches deep. So it was certainly quite enough for there to be ice on the roads. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I could barely see out my front window because the heater didn't work. Mm-hmm. And of course, with the two of us in there pumping,
we're fogging up like crazy.
We're fogging up the windows like crazy. So I'm like, crap, I don't want to crash into anything because I lived in Southern California at the time, so it's like I still got to drive this car all the way back down to frickin' SoCal.
Yep.
So, yeah, fucking that was a crazy trip. But so yeah, with the whole Robert Downy Jr. thing. It's just, to me, it just seems like fucking nonsense.
It really does. Yeah, kind of getting back to what we're talking about, because Megyn Kelly's now sitting there trying to be like, well, why are you like supporting Robert Downy Jr. and you guys are coming after me? You got me fired. It's like, well, one, you're there trying to defend blackface, whereas he is making fun of basically Megyn Kelly's type of people, is the type of people that would wear blackface. That's the whole joke, and the fact that she is just so dense that doesn't get it is just beyond me. It's like, why was she anywhere near the news to begin with if she's the type of person that would actually not understand why this is a problem?
I think it's just a failure of the education system.
Speaking of failures in education, let's go ahead and talk about our wonderful president here. Now... Yeah, my sloppy segue aside, like fitting a square peg in a round hole. I made it. The point is, I made it fit.
Just get that frickin' hammer, man. Just jam it in there.
Was it the dude from MythBusters? What's his name? The redhead dude.
Are you talking about Adam Savage?
Adam Savage, that's his name. He has a book that basically says "Any tool's a hammer." That's pretty much my life motto.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much my life motto, and unfortunately, I've ruined plenty of electronics that way. But moving on, though, so yeah, I'm sure people have seen this by now, and have at least heard of the whole trying to get a military force in space, and namely, they call it Space Force. Yeah, that's some clever marketing there.
Sounds like a Power Rangers group.
Oh God, right? It's like Time Force, Dino Force, Space Force. The fuck?
I mean, with the way they're going, my wife and her brother were talking about this. They're both into Power Rangers. With the way the name sequences have been going with Power Rangers, it's going to end up being Force.
Hey, don't forget to add some kind of dino in there, but
Well, I mean, what Dino Force was Dino Force a thing?
I think so. And
I don't know. I wasn't a Power Rangers nerd. I have gone to Power Morphicon. I actually got to see Richard Horvitz there. He was great.
Which one's that one again?
Richard Horvitz. He's been in tons of stuff. Mostly, like what I recall him mostly from is Invader Zim. He voiced Zim.
Oh yeah, shit, that's right.
And then also, oh man,
God, I never knew that guy's name. Actually, I kind of feel like
he's been
fan.
Richard Horvitz has been.
He was Daggett. I know that.
Yeah, he was Daggett from Angry Beavers. But he has done so many voices and so many different things that he's one of those voice actors that you hear. He doesn't really
very recognizable.
Yeah, he doesn't change his voice really for any of his characters. He just does his own voice because he has this very
if
high.
Had that voice, would you really either?
True. I mean, he's got like this very distinct voice. Very like it would be. I think you could describe Richard Horvitz's voice as the antithesis to oh man,
Barry
why
White?
can't I remember his name now? Probably because I'm drunk.
Barry White.
Not familiar with Barry White. No, I was gonna say damn. He fuck, now I gotta look him up. Damn it.
I'm gonna laugh if it ends up being a Barry White.
No, it's not Barry White. I know it's not Barry White. Let's see. Fuck.
Are you talking about the guy that played Chef, Isaac Hayes?
No, he played Crunk in Emperor's New Groove.
Patrick Warburton.
Warburton. Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, I love him,
Okay,
man. He's got
so-
one of those, like, definitely another very recognizable voice.
Right. And what I'm saying is that he's got that like kind of more deep voice. That's very recognizable, very deep voice. So, him and Richard Horvitz are like the antithesis to each other. You know, you got Richard Horvitz, who's that very kind of I don't know if I could describe it as shrill. That very like high pitched.
It's like a nasal shrill.
Yeah, that very high pitched kind of voice. And then Patrick Warburton has that deep voice that you got in like Crunk, or one of my favorite characters that he's done is Brock Sampson from Venture Brothers.
Oh hell yeah! He's got that. He's got that kind of deep, almost like mocking secret agent cadence to his voice. You know, he always seems like he's suspicious of something.
Right.
He's not quite sure what.
And then, but anyway, so when I went to Power Morphicon, and if you guys are interested in going to Power Morphicon, it's held like every 2 years, and I think it's usually always held at the Pasadena Convention Center. My wife loves to go. We actually got to meet one of the actors from Power Rangers RPM. Ami, let me look it up really quick. Power Rangers. I'm intoxicated now, so like I can't remember.
Yeah, fuck it. Well, we're kind of riffing now, so whatever.
Yeah. Fuck, where is he? Do. Oh no, that strike us with copyright.
Yeah, probably. You know they're copyright happy, man.
Right. I'm just throwing. God damn it! Why can't I find this shit? Anyway, so we got to meet one of the voice actors from Power Rangers RPM, and what's actually great about that is, I'm not really into Power Rangers. I mean, it's cool and all. I understand there's a big fandom. It's one of those niche kind of nerd kind of things. But
we're all nerds. Like honestly,
we're all nerds. I'm not trying to talk crap on anyone. It's just one of those niche ones. Like you really got to be into it to be into it.
No, I definitely get you on that. Like I won't talk smack on them, but at the same time, I won't claim to understand the bronies.
Right. Oh, Ari Boyland. Or Ari Boyland. Great
Sounds
guy.
like
we only got to briefly talk to him, but I mean, it was great. And so, but he told us about this movie that him and Milo Cawthorn had, and who else was it? She played Dr. K.
Were the other letters taken? Who's Dr. K? I have no idea.
Well, she's okay. So, like in a lot of the Power, I think from a lot of the Power Rangers. I mean, as I said, it was Olivia Tennant. So Olivia Tennant, Milo Cawthorn, and Ari Boyland. They actually were starred in a independent film called Blood Punch, and
sounds graphic.
Oh, dude! Like this is. If you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day,
yeah,
imagine that with with 3 people, and they all want to kill each other.
Sounds like Christmas.
And they succeed. Oh, and by the way, the bodies don't disappear.
Well, fuck.
Okay,
It definitely sounds like Christmas in my house,
dude. I mean, it is. It's a thriller, like kind of like it's a low budget film, but they did fucking amazing at it. And what's interesting about it is that they're, you if you know them first as from Power Rangers, and you see this movie Blood Punch, it's completely different. Absolutely, completely different. It shows that they as actors have a good range of being able to play. I mean,
as long as it has a severe lack of spandex and foam rubber, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very, very different from Power Rangers.
That's not what I mean, though. Is that them as actors? Because like from Power Rangers RPM, Milo Cawthorn playing Ziggy, who's the Green Ranger, who ends up being the Green Ranger. Let's put it this way: he's trying to tell someone explain why he would be a good Power Ranger, and all he says is shadow puppets. And then later on to that shadow puppets, okay. Later on to that episode, they're being chased by enemies, and there's a part where he looks. The enemies are looking around, and they see some shadows, moving off to a side. You hear like, "Hey, let's go this way," and the enemies go running after wherever they think these shadows are going. And it goes back to Milo Cawthorn and whoever he was with, and he's like, they escaped. And he just looks at him. He's like, shadow puppets, tricking these enemies with shadow puppets.
I mean, shit. If it works, it works.
Right.
But getting back to what we're talking about, though, I mean, honestly, this talk about Power Rangers and stuff like that isn't too far off, because I don't know if you've seen it or not, but the symbol for, I guess, this new Space Force looks like fucking the Federation logo. It looks like the damn...
And that's fucking ridiculous.
I mean, come on. How is the copyright guys not getting on this? But still, also, dude, we get it. You're a reality TV star. Did you have to pick something from science fucking fiction?
Well, also here in this article from NPR.org, it shows a tweet from Christy Wade, the Starfleet Command logo right next to the United States Space Force. And
it looks
fucking uncanny, man. I mean, it's pretty much the same. I mean, with the Space Force logo, it looks like the frickin' ship from the game Asteroids.
Right?
That's really what it looks like. And I mean, and then with that like circle around the globe, it just looks exactly what they have on the frickin' Starfleet Command, depending on what era of Star Trek you're talking about.
I mean, come on. It's pretty soon when we get out there, then we're going to be starting to get weird press conferences about the new Borg, or in this particular case, Space ISIS. Resistance is futile. Resistance, resistance is futile, infidel.
Well, it depends on how you want to pronounce it. There's some people who pronounce it resistance is futile. Others pronounce it resistance is futile. Depends on how you want to pronounce it.
Well, I guess in this, at the risk of sounding racist, at this point there'd be resistance is.
I think you need a cough drop, man.
I'm gonna die in a one-car accident. Yes, I am. Or at the very least, be set on fire at some point in my life.
You know what? I've been involved in a one-car accident.
Well, I told you, man. Don't be saying, governmental truths around electronics, dude.
No,
the phones are listening.
Don't you remember the Ford Escort I mentioned earlier in when I picked you up? I rolled that thing.
Fuck, that's right. I forgot about that.
I rolled that thing with a buddy of ours, and yeah, that's it happened on Christmas Day. We rolled it and somehow crawled out of that car without a scratch on me while I was trying to drift it, or rather power slide it. It was a 96
Yeah.
Ford Escort, so it was front wheel drive, and from what I understand, you can't really drift a front wheel drive vehicle. It's more like a power slide, but anyway.
Well, you can try.
You can try, but I don't recommend it if you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you don't have a roll cage. But
yeah, Tokyo Drift mother. Oh, fuck!
So, yeah, this whole Space Force thing's like, I can understand. I'm not a fan of any politician. Don't get me wrong. Maybe Alexander Hamilton, he was pretty badass from what I understand, but I'm not really. What's that?
Let's face it, I got a little too political when I was sitting there talking to myself in the last episode, so I'm kind of happy to have you back, because I get to weird places when I'm drunk and left on my own devices.
Hey, you got to have someone to bounce ideas off of. But
do.
like, I am no fan of any particular politician for the most part, and I'm pretty balanced, I think, in the way that I see the opinions I have on political issues. But I can understand why a country such as the United States would want to try and get some sort of military force in space. The strategic advantage to controlling space is insane. Like, if you think having control of airspace is something, imagine having control all around the globe. You can control. Enemy country launches a satellite, you can take that shit out. Like, no, fuck you. I don't want that satellite there. Let's add more to the space garbage orbiting the planet.
I mean, plus, not to mention, there's always going to be military applications. But to be perfectly honest, ever since I heard of this whole Space Force thing to begin with, I swear to God, I was half expecting Mitch McConnell just to come out and say, we need satellites up there. We must put the weather dominator. Hail Cobra! Hail Republicans! The whole thing sounds like a fucked up G.I. Joe plot.
Right. I get that. Okay. I really think that, I don't know how much influence Trump had in the design of this particular logo. If he did, it's one of those times again where, like, what the fuck is he thinking? I mean, really, what the fuck is he thinking? If he didn't, you can't really blame him. And I know a lot of people want to blame Trump for everything, but
you can't really. I mean, to be perfectly honest, he's a puppet, man. He doesn't really have as much influence as most people think he does. But if he did have some influence on the Space Force logo, like, we get it. You want to be proud of your kid's crayon drawing. Put him on the fridge at home. Don't put him as the logo of your fucking company.
Right. Hanging on the fridge. Be happy.
Exactly. Ivanka, oh yes, Trump, this is a very good and totally original logo. I'm going to put this right here next to your report card and your tax returns.
But anyway, yeah. So, as I said, I don't really think Trump, unless research shows otherwise. If you guys want in the comments, let me know if I'm wrong. I'm perfectly accepting if I'm wrong, because, hey, as far as I'm concerned, most of the time I am.
Yeah, me too. I mean, come on, we are doing this podcast drunk.
True. And so, and with very little research on my end, at least, I'm busy with school and shit, so I try to at least read the brief. Get it?
And I'm just lazy.
So, moving right along, though, then we got other shit going on. Now, you're going to have to explain this shit to me, Rob, because this next part, how do you pronounce this guy's name? Osirans? Or what?
Rapist? I mean, Onision? What?
Oh, no, Onision. Okay.
Yes. So, some of you people have seen this, some of you haven't. Basically, controversial YouTuber Onision is a pedo. I can say that because, fuck him. It's liable. I don't give a shit.
Forgive me for this. I'm very out of touch with this particular subject. I have no idea who Onision is. I have no idea who Chris Hansen is. I think I had heard of it, but I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch YouTube, but when the shit I watch on YouTube is like, I want to say informative stuff. It's more like educational stuff, Unless you want to count all the flat earther debunk shit that I've been watching, it's like, oh my god.
That's a whole
nother podcast. That's a whole nother episode.
We could do an hour on them alone, and we might in the future. Tell us in the comments below.
Right. But anyway, so you're going to have to explain this stuff to me.
All right. So going into it, Onision, he's a controversial YouTuber in that he is famous for being a controversial YouTuber. There's always been like rumors and stuff like that he's been basically grooming young girls and apparently young boys too, because I guess he's married to a man named Kai. Now, full disclosure, I don't necessarily know what the guy does too much myself. I just know the controversy surrounding him and how he likes to apparently groom young children. And I say children even though they're like 15, 16, but let's face it.
Still technically a child.
Yeah, if you're under 8, like those people who try and defend, like, oh, well, they were a teenager, doesn't matter. They're a child. Honestly, if you're under 25, I'm still probably going to consider you a child because, let's face it, no one wants to deal with that drunk chick at a party.
I'm sorry, Rob. I've forgotten how old you are. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I'm showing my age, but it's like, I can't,
But you're if I recall, you're like only a couple years younger than me, right?
I'm 34, I think.
Oh, you're younger than me. Okay.
Yeah,
so if you can agree with me, anyone that's under 10, that's more than 10 years younger than you, is a child.
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
God, yes. Okay, granted, me and you, we're both married men, but if we did go into any kind of single situation, like, it's just creepy, man. Like, I can't even see myself doing that with anything younger than like I said, like even like 25 would have been my cutoff in the single days. Thank God I'm not.
Well, okay. So here's an example. Okay, like I'm a university student, much older than most of the other people that I go to school with.
Gray Bush.
Huh?
I called you Gray Bush.
Oh, okay. So
fucking grandma's boys.
Right. Okay, yeah. I should have remembered that. I love that movie, but anyway. So an example of that is like one of my classes. I have like three different groups for 3 different classes that I have to deal with this quarter, and one of the people that's in my one of my groups. I was talking to her, and I mentioned how, like, oh, I graduated high school in 2003. And she mentions, oh, I was 3 years old.
Oh, fuck.
And I'm just thinking, yep, I just dated myself.
Yeah. We have officially become the creepy old guys at the party.
Well, I don't know about creepy. Like, I think it really depends on how you act there, but, like...
Very true. I mean, as long as
I'm usually always the person in the room or the professor who's, like maybe 5-10 years older than me. The professor's like, oh, do you remember this thing from old computing days? Like, and
you're the only one raising
I'm
your
like
hand.
one of the only people raising my hand. Like, yep, I remember floppy disks. Yep, I remember playing Oregon Trail in black and white on a Mac Classic. Yeah, I remember doing this and that. So,
it's saddening.
Anyway, so that's what I mean by it's anyone under 10 years younger than us is a child in that kind of way.
But the main thing is this guy's going after freaking teenagers, dude, which is really messed up. And his husband, wife, I don't know, like I've seen pictures of Kai and there's some gender fluidity things going in there, but I'm not getting into
wife,
that. Right.
You got to put the emphasis on the H. Wife, it's like cool whip.
Don't do that. You're going to make me want to punch a baby.
The sound that makes you want to punch a baby.
Yeah, it's one of those sounds. So they're grooming children off of their fans off of YouTube. So of course this is going to gain fucking attention, and apparently it gained attention from the one person who, if you're going to do that sort of thing, you don't want attention from. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Chris Hansen. Now,
I don't know who Chris Hansen is.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a bit of a show called Dateline or Daytime, or I can't remember. I think it's Dateline. But
I've heard of Dateline.
Those of us, so for those of us who, kind of stopped watching TV long ago, Dateline was a show where Chris Hansen, he had a segment on it, and he would basically have someone pose as an underage girl trying to get people to come on. It was basically like reverse fucked up catfish. And then they would come to a location and, of course, have some, I don't know, female officer or something in the background like, oh, come on in, I'm just getting dressed. And, of course, it's some creepy neckbeard with a six-pack of Zima and a full season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know why. It picked from a very fucking crowd.
Is that Zima the official drink of neckbeards?
Pedophile neckbeards, anyways. Some neckbeards just drink straight beer,
right? Okay.
Because let's face it, we've both been neckbeards. It's a thing. It's not necessary. It's just not necessarily mean that we're creepy. It's just
I like to consider myself a recovered neckbeard. Or
I think we are. I mean, the sheer fact that we're both married tells us that we were recovered neckbeards.
That don't mean shit. I've met some people, man. I used to work at Walmart. You used to work at Walmart.
Yeah, true. We'll not get into those stories again.
We have met
I was
the
actually
people
there today.
We have, like, it's like me and my wife were out earlier today. After we went out to eat, and after we ate, she was like, "Oh, hey, maybe we should just go to the store, mostly just like walk around and such." He's like, "We can go to Walmart." I'm like, "Nope, I'm going to Target." I'm going to Target. It's way less crowded.
Right.
And it's just a nicer looking store.
All around, especially with all the remodeling. But, so, getting back to it, though, Chris Hansen basically went after him. He's basically saying, like, oh, shoot, sorry, accidentally played a video. He's basically saying, like, hey, like, what's up with this? You're grooming young kids. And Onision, rather than saying, oh, that's not me, or, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, or the typical, oh, I was trying to do this so that I should show the girl that it's wrong that you should do this. This was actually something said in other Dateline episodes where the pedophile would actually try and justify his actions by basically saying, oh, no, I was just I was protecting her, because if she wasn't talking to me, she would have been talking to an actual pedophile. I know no one can see that I'm doing very massive air quotes, but you
have to imagine the gigantic air quotes that you're putting up.
Oh, huge air quotes, because I got huge hands, a huge head, but small neck. It's like a bobblehead.
You know what they say about men with small necks and big heads, right?
They don't really look good in necklaces?
Right. We'll go with that.
Hey, if we're going for that joke, I'm hung like a Tic Tac and last half as long. But
you cut out there, Tic Tac and what?
I said, if we're going for that joke, I'm hung like a Tic Tac and last half as long. But instead, Onision actually sues Chris Hansen for harassment. Because if Chris Hansen's saying you're a pedophile, chances are you're probably a pedophile.
I mean,
there's really nothing much you can say to that. It's like there's no defense. If Chris Hansen said it, guess what? Hey, if Chris Hansen said that to me, even I might go, you know what? I haven't, but maybe I have. I don't know. Just because he has that much clout in the guys that hunt people, pieces of shit like that.
Right.
And let's face it, Onision is a piece of shit.
Well, I mean, that's even what as I said, I really don't know who these people are. You've explained a little bit, even before we started recording. And then I asked my wife about it. She's like, oh yeah, Onision, he's a fucking complete douchebag. I'm like, okay. It's so, of course, I will admit, a lot of what I watch is more educational, so I don't really dig too deep into all the controversial nonsense. I think the worst of the crap that I get into is the fucking flat earther bullshit. and or I should say, the flat earther debunk. Like a bunch of these flat earthers trying to like, oh yeah, this completely proves the flat earth, or this disproves the globe. It's like, you don't understand physics.
Globes do not work that way. Planets do not work.
Flat Earths don't even work that way. Like, yeah. I mean, anyway, as we said before, that's completely another video. So yeah, I mean. This just from this article that I'm looking over and what I've heard other people talking about it, he does seem like a douchebag.
Oh yeah, no, it gets even worse than that. So it's in the article, but it doesn't go too much deep. But I've actually looked at the videos. He's also talked about a YouTuber by the name of Repsion. Now Repsion apparently got sued for the same thing as Chris Hansen, but here's the funny thing: Chris Hansen never actually got taken to court. Because, get this, he served the wrong Chris Hansen. That alone warrants a dismissal immediately on, account of stupidity. But Repsion actually got served and actually went to court for this. And I watched the video, and basically, Onision is walking in and then basically dismisses his own case, saying, oh, I don't want to actually press charge against this guy because I'm going to go ahead and seek other means. It's like, he knows the judge is going to be like, yeah, you're fucking stupid. But he tries to take a hold of the situation like, oh, no, I'm telling you that it's not going to happen this way. It's like, dude, no, you are not the one in control here. Trying
to save face.
All right.
Shit, I would love to see that case in front of Judge Judy.
Oh,
just so she could tear him a new one.
Oh, I would love to see Judy lay into his ass.
But anyway, I mean. Here's something that I actually brought up about something else, because we were speaking of douchebags, different types of douchebags, but still speaking of douchebags. So with voting season coming up, there's actually been a lot of push. If you own, especially an Apple device, and you're really pissed off that if you need repairs that you can pretty much only go to Apple, then you really should support the right to repair bills if your state is currently voting on that. And the reason for that is a lot of these companies, especially Apple, but a lot of other companies, apparently CompTIA is even trying to fight against these bills, which is really strange if you are into tech repair and that kind of stuff. With the whole right to repair thing is that if you own a device and you need service on it, it's very similar to like, you own a car, you need service on it. And this is actually something that Luis Rossmann brought up. And if you're not familiar with Luis Rossmann, I highly recommend you go check out his channel. Luis Rossmann is a tech repair specialist. He does a lot of work on Apple devices, and he has been independently traveling around the country to go to the discussions of these right to repair bills at the state legislators to lobby in favor of passing the right to repair bills. And basically what it is that, as far as I understand how most of these right to repair bills are written, is that it would enable consumers to have more options to be able to get their devices repaired. So
see, I like to be able to repair my own stuff. Like, I know not too many people do so these days, but like, I can change my own tire, I can change my brakes, I can't change my oil, but that's just because it's sticky. So like, for them to kind of try and take away the ability to repair your own electronics, that's just fucked up beyond levels, dude.
Well, and this is what I was getting at about what Luis Rossmann said. He actually used an example. I believe it was when he was at testifying at the Nebraska legislature on in regards to this bill. He actually used an example of an AutoZone commercial where basically, like, it came down to where this, like, mother and daughter were, with the help of going to AutoZone, were able to change the brake pads on their vehicle. They were able to change the brake pads, an essential function of any vehicle, to stop a 2-ton piece of equipment, by themselves. Did not need a certified technician. You didn't need to take it to a dealer. You could potentially do it yourself and do it correctly.
Hey, YouTube's a thing for a reason.
Right. Scotty Kilmer is a great YouTuber for learning about repairs, if you guys want to go look him up. Anyway, so Louis Rossmann uses this example while he's discussing this bill and why it should be passed with the state legislator of Nebraska. And then afterwards, the lobbyists from there was one from CompTIA, I know that. There was a couple others from different tech tech organizations, and they were basically saying, like, oh, it's allowing independent people, just anyone, to be able to repair a device would open it up to security risk and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things that one of these lobbyists said, which completely and utterly proves he has absolutely no idea what in the hell he's talking about, is he's like, you could take it to the service center, an independent service center, and this repair tech could install TikTok on their person's device without their knowledge. Well, first of all, if you guys don't know what's going on with TikTok, apparently it has some major security flaws, or at least at the time had some major security flaws. And
I heard something about that, but I didn't really look too deeply into it.
Yeah, I don't know the precise details about it, but it's apparently has some security flaws. But he just goes right out and says, oh, they could install TikTok. Well, what's ridiculous is that a repair technician, in order to access any of the information on the device, they have to know the encryption key. And if they don't know the encryption key, like say, you have an iPhone, screen breaks because, hey, they're iPhones. For some reason, the screen always breaks.
I'm looking at a Aspired screen right now.
Right, okay. So, and all you need is screen repair. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they can replace the screen without being able to access any of the information, any of the data on the device, let alone install an application.
Yeah, that's a hardware fix. Like, why would that matter? That has nothing to do with installing shit.
Absolutely. And that's the point that Louis Rossmann was trying to make, was that in one of the videos he reposted from this discussion, or from the legislator, he actually reposted something about how this lobbyist was clueless, and they flagged his video for privacy, which is complete nonsense because it's complete public.
God.
It's completely public. They don't even check ID when you walk in. You could be, as Louis said, you could be not even a citizen of this country and still walk into this legislator meeting and observe how this whole thing is going down. It was publicly broadcasted on the legislator's website, which you didn't need to log in. Anyone from anywhere in the world could access it. Okay, so there is no right to privacy. They actually
the flag system is so fucking broken in YouTube.
Well, at the very least, Luis did mention in one of his follow-up videos that he had actually was talking with YouTube, and they were working with him to, they believed him more than they believed this whole privacy nonsense. And so, and he actually, thanked them for that in his video. He's like, oh, they don't do many things right, but when they do, you need to give them credit for it. So, but yeah, so it's just complete nonsense about how these lobbyists are trying to lobby against this right to repair bill. I mean, I can understand why these lobbyists would be trying to do it. They're trying to protect their own corporate interests. But what gets me is where CompTIA, that is a nationally recognized organization for providing technology certifications, would be fighting against this kind of bill.
I don't get that myself, like, because I've had to go through a couple of certification courses, and you think that CompTIA would actually be the ones like fighting to get people to be able to repair, but a lot of the restrictions on these repairs, especially from fucking Apple, are basically saying you can only take it to an Apple dealership to get repaired, which, as far as I know, CompTIA doesn't even have anything to do with them. You know, apparently Apple says the only tool you can use on their phone is not a screwdriver, but a wallet.
Right. Well, when it comes to CompTIA, it's as far as I understand how these right to repair bills are supposed to work, is they extend to all tech. They extend to all mobile devices, all laptops, all computers. Okay, and they're trying to.
So I couldn't even fix an Android device then at this point.
Right. I mean, with most Android devices, for the most part, you can fix. Like, a lot of the manufacturers for Android devices, from what I understand, you can get the parts pretty easily to repair them. But apparently with Apple, even if, this is something Rossman had also mentioned, was that even if he wanted to replace like a particular chip for the for charging, that's responsible for charging, he can't order that particular component from the manufacturer, because the manufacturer was told by Apple, you only sell to us. You only sell your parts to us. Okay? So a repair technician cannot order that part. So instead, they actually I think his example was like repairing an iPhone. Instead, he actually has to order a battery assembly from another company, get that battery assembly in, remove that one particular chip, and use it to replace the chip on the broken phone.
Oh, fuck me.
And then dispose of the battery. So
what the actual... So going back to the theme of the show, what the actual fuck?
What the actual fuck? I mean, seriously, because think about that. He has to order a whole assembly to get one particular component off it, because Apple uses the same component on both, and then disposes of something that needs to be properly disposed of. Lithium-ion batteries need to be properly disposed of, which adds an extreme amount to waste.
Yeah, aren't these the same companies that try and advertise about how eco-friendly they are and how they want to eliminate
and
waste?
they even tried to bring up the whole fact that, like, if these repair companies or if these independent repair companies are going to be fixing phones, then we're not going to be able to keep track and make sure that those phones get recycled properly. They're being recycled. They're being repaired so they won't end up in that freaking cycle.
Yeah, there was we were talking about before the show, Adam Ruins Everything. There was a show about like electronic vehicles and stuff like that, and they determined that one of the most e-conscious solutions was, instead of buying another one of these fucking electric Prius bullshits, just take care of the old used car you have, and then when it becomes, dilapidated and you can no longer drive, that's when you go ahead and upgrade. But until then, to actually take care of the one you got, because the actual car that you would throw away just to get an electronic vehicle would be way more waste and cause way more pollution than just, hanging on to the old one.
Right.
And I gotta imagine the same thing's going to be true for these phones that they have to run the repairs on.
Well, phones, tablets, laptops. I mean, you think also MacBooks. There's shit in there. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. So if in your state there is a right to repair bill, support it. It helps not only yourself. And this is more than just Apple products. Will cover Apple, Android. This covers pretty much all mobile devices. Please support these right to repair bills. Email your senators.
Vote yes on Prop Wrench.
Yeah, right. Okay. Support. Email your senator. Email all the people that are involved in making these decisions, and tell them you support this. And of course, don't just take my word for it. Research it. do what you need to do to completely understand the issue as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, no, never take our word for the gospel truth, because in the end, like we've said multiple times, we're drinking when we read this shit off, and for the most part, we're just talking shit. So never automatically take everything we say for the gospel. Like, do your own research, because let's face it, we don't want to be, held responsible for any bullshit that people jump to conclusions on.
Do you think we should start including a disclaimer at the beginning of our shows?
Nah, fuck it, because then the lawsuits will be really funny to watch. Speaking of lawsuits and stupid shit, moving subjects to probably the last thing we're going to be able to talk about today. It wouldn't be a what the actual fuck if we weren't talking about some Darwin Award winners, let's say, on what we were just talking about, TikTok. So apparently there's some people who, well, let me just get into it. So have you ever gotten sick, had that bubble gut sort of feeling, and it almost feels like you can fucking taste it? Well, apparently you can. See, apparently taste buds are not just on the tongue, but they're also in several other parts in the body. And someone had actually taken this to mean that there are taste buds on the testicles.
Well, from what I understand about it, yeah, there's the way this particular article explains it from was it Gizmodo? Okay,
I think so, yeah.
Yes, there are taste receptors in the testicles, but they're not connected. But that still, of course, hasn't prevented anybody from trying to dip their testicles in soy sauce to try and taste the umami.
I mean, come on. Why don't they just cut the foreplay out and start dipping it into the wasabi? Apparently, a lot less people would be doing this test again, or it might be the new Tide Pod Challenge. We don't know.
It'd be safer than the Tide Pod Challenge, because at least wasabi has some antibacterial properties.
Yeah, true. Not to mention the fact that they would get a harsh reminder of why they fucking shouldn't do that. So, but I can't remember who did it, but apparently the doctors and the people that have actual medical training say that, the people that say that they swear up and down they can taste it. It's usually because the scent is so strong of the soy sauce that they're smelling it and they're not actually tasting it, but they're associating it because, I mean, if a lot of people didn't know out there, your smell is attached to your taste, like your sense of taste. Like, they work in tandem.
Right.
So when people are dipping their nuts into the wasabi, they think they can taste it. And you know what? That gave me an idea. You see, we're drinking here.
You didn't dip your testicles.
I haven't yet, but let's go ahead and try this, shall we? Let's go ahead and try a little experiment here. All right, let's go ahead and move the ice cubes out of the way. All right, dude, Brian, I can taste it. It's the weirdest taste I've ever tasted. You know what it tastes like?
Nuts.
No. It tastes of cold and shame. I'm sorry, but if you're dipping your nuts in something thinking you're going to taste it, all you're going to taste is a whole pile of embarrassment.
I guess it gives a whole new definition to teabagging.
Hey, if a hipster teabags you, is that chamomile? You get teabagged by a Marine. That's black. That's some English breakfast right there. Too much caffeine.
Yeah, I mean, this is. It comes back. I don't remember, Rob. Are you a fan of Jack's films at all?
I still have not caught much of his stuff. No.
Okay. There's this thing that's been going around. It's like, I don't really get TikTok to you. No, I don't really get TikTok to you. No, I don't really get TikTok to you. And look that up. I mean, it's part of one of his videos where it's like he recorded himself and then just keep doing it over and over again with wearing like different costumes. Shit. Jack's films, Jack Douglas, he's actually very funny. I get a lot of what I see from him from my wife because she's an huge fangirl She hasn't met him yet, but she has met his wife and his mother.
Well, association by proxy, it works. I count it.
Right, and and like there was actually a couple times where she has actually said something like during a live stream or something. She type in chat, and it goes. He'll be like, Beth the Dork said this, and then most recent was like, Beth the Dork said this, and then he's like, Beth, like you've been a great follower. I know you've been following me for years, so thank you so much for following me and everything. And then he hears his wife saying something off screen, like, is that Beth the Dork? Oh, she's part of the family. He's like, you got that? Beth the Dork's part of the family. So,
dang man, we'll tell her to hook it up for a shout out for our channel.
Possibly in due time. I'm not going to try my luck, man. Okay,
no,
Jack's
I was just kidding.
Jack's a busy person. He's doing the best he can to make some really great content for everyone. Funny stuff.
Let's face it. The language we use on this channel would be less for Jack's films and probably more Jacksepticeye.
I don't think that.
Perpetually cursing Irishmen. Come on now.
Well, Jack Douglas is actually, I think, mostly Irish. I think his wife is too. Yeah, he did one of those genetic tests, and they went to Ireland and did a lot of drinking. So yeah, no, trust me, man. Like you watch a lot of his, especially of his more recent stuff. Yeah, don't think that our language is too low. What's the word I'm looking for? Too
lowbrow.
What's up?
Lowbrow.
That's what I was thinking of. Don't think our language is too lowbrow for his channel, because he's had some very interesting comments that he'll just read off and shit that he says. Anyway, so but yeah, this whole freaking I don't know. I don't know what kind of childhood and life that you have that you would have to dip your balls in soy sauce. And then of course
Tide Pods.
Right. And then of course the second part of this article, I guess it may have been a slow news day. They had to join these two things together, so do not try this at home, apparently. This is also part of the same article from Gizmodo.
Well, I think that warning goes for pretty much anything we do on this channel.
Right. Do not try this at home. Do not try this at home. So apparently one of the other really ridiculous things that was going on with as this was described as TikTok's underage delinquent behavior, is you take some sort of phone charger. You take a phone charger, plug it in to an outlet, pull it out ever so slightly, and then drop a penny through the prongs, which apparently has caused electrical fires.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's like this is where science education comes in handy. I mean, okay. So here's a great example, okay, of why you should not do this kind of stuff and why science education is so important. Okay, I had a physics professor during community college. She was a great professor. She was less than 10 years older than me. And so so I don't think I was a kid to her, but I have no idea.
Well, we firmly established we're old.
Right. Okay. So she was an amazing professor, but she told us about her son, who is like 17, gotten into UCLA and such. But she was telling us about a time when he was going through that age where he was trying to plug forks into outlets.
Ooh, a fun age.
Okay, so this isn't like the Chris Titus, like, no, let him do it. Bet you won't do that again. Okay, No,
which of course we all did.
I don't know if I ever did that. My parents were, at least my mom was pretty on top of shit. But
my thing wasn't forks; it was paper clips, but it worked.
Right.
It was the same.
Okay. So, but she told us how her son was trying to shove a fork in an outlet, and she tried to explain to him, you can't do that. It's you could get really hurt. And of course, what do little kids always say? Why? Why?
God.
But her being a physics professor, okay, I'll show you an experiment. And she got a plug with the wires coming off. She had it clipped off. Mm-hmm. And set it up so, she was being safe. Grabbed a hot dog, put the hot dog down, plugged the thing in, plugged the wires into the hot dog, and they both watched the hot dog heat up and explode. And her son was like, okay, I won't do that.
An interesting science lesson, and she made lunch. She's a good mom.
Right. So, splody dog. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner of champions.
It's so much easier than cutting them up and putting them in the beans.
Right. So,
all right, man. What's up?
No, I was just saying. So, yeah. Do not do this shit with your phone, with phone chargers. Don't do that. Be safe around electricity, all that kind of stuff. You really want to have some really, interesting demonstrations about electricity and why you should be safe around it. Watch Electro Boom. He's a great teacher of electronics and electrical equipment. Electro Boom, yeah.
Or at the very least, just take yourself out to a field with a car battery and some jumper cables. Have some fun, learn a new kink, and you don't burn down the house.
Hey, car batteries are only 12 volts. They ain't going to do shit. Might feel a little tingle.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can't get an amp at Radio Shack anymore because Radio Shack is no more.
Right. But anyway, so just so you guys are there's no argument here. We're not sponsored. I'm basically giving a shout out to these other YouTubers because I watch them. I enjoy their content.
We can comment on people who are out there and exist.
True. I get it. And if you are one of those YouTubers that we have mentioned, hey, thank you for listening, especially if you've gotten this far and are listening to our antics. So
most people tend to tune us out after the first 5 minutes,
if that. So yeah, I guess we can wrap this up. Thank you so much for listening. We are really going to try our best to keep this going. Even with our busy schedules. So
like life gets in the way, everybody, but we're going to keep this thing trucking as long as we can,
do the best we can. We're going to still keep trying to do our weekly upload, and let us know, and especially, hey guys, let us know in the comments below if you have any articles that you've seen, any crazy stuff going on, and we'll see what we can do. I will let you know when I'm able to get the Twitter set up, and you guys can start hitting us up on Twitter. And if I am able to get that up, get off my lazy ass to do that, I will have Rob put that in the comments or in the description below. So thank you so much for listening.
What I was going to say is that because also, we're just a couple of California guys, so we know that there's going to also be articles and things like that we're just not going to see. So if you have some crazy story that you want to share with us that happened in your local town or a couple towns over, please feel free. We live to read and consume this kind of crazy shit.
Oh yeah. And now, honestly, if everything comes out with Florida man does this, Florida man does that, it's we don't need another anti-hero.
He has lived long enough to see himself become the villain, then the hero again, then the crazy background character that no one pays attention to. Then they suddenly reboot him into a TV series later on down the road.
Right.
Then, of course, he signs a deal with Netflix, and that's when everyone forgets about him.
Not Disney?
No. If it's Florida Man, it's Netflix.
Right. All right, well, catch you guys in the next video.
All right, catch y'all later. See ya.